In the early 2010s, Emma Stone was everywhere. With Superbad, Zombieland, and Easy A, she became the poster girl for the witty love interest or quirky lead. But for her, that wasn't enough. The roles kept coming, but not the chances to grow. So instead of playing it safe, she chased the tougher roles. One of which left her wondering if she was even good enough. But she didn't back down. She pushed further, taking on live theater, which became the hardest thing she's ever done. Those risks laid the foundation for La La Land, a turning point that changed how the industry saw her. And instead of coasting after that, she doubled down by choosing weirder, bolder films. And not just acting in them, but producing them too. This is the story of an actress who refuses to settle and quietly built one of the most exciting careers in Hollywood. This is Emma Stone. Well, this is actually Emily Stone, but that name was already taken in the Screen Actors Guild, so she went by Riley for a bit before landing on Emma. It's surprising to hear that before all these name changes, she was a child who suffered from anxiety and panic attacks, especially compared to how chill and carefree she seems off screen now. But that anxiety is what pushed her into acting in the first place. Born in Scottsdale, Arizona in 1988, Stone had colic as a baby for 6 months. The constant crying damaged her vocal cords and gave her the raspy voice she's had ever since. As an anxious kid, acting in the local theater helped with her panic attacks more than therapy ever did, and she fell in love with it, performing in youth theater by age 11. But soon after, her sights shifted to TV and film. She started balancing school, acting lessons, and auditions, but she wasn't getting any roles. She realized she'd have to take a big leap and move to LA to get a chance. So after one semester at her all-girls Catholic high school, she convinced her parents to let her move to LA with a PowerPoint called Project Hollywood. And it worked. She dropped out, enrolled in online classes, and moved to LA with her mom. But just making a PowerPoint wasn't enough to break into Hollywood. She auditioned for what felt like every Disney show and sitcom, but she kept getting rejected. At 16, her TV debut in 2004's The New Partridge Family never got past its pilot. She made one-off appearances in Malcolm in the Middle and The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, but nothing stuck. Her biggest role at the time was in 2007's Drive, a Fox TV show which got cancelled after just 7 episodes. After failing to land a part in Heroes, she felt like she'd hit rock bottom, but 2007 would be anything but because she landed her breakout role in Superbad, one of our favorite films here at Filmstack. The movie follows 2 high school seniors trying to go to one last party before graduation. It's a classic 2000s comedy where Stones plays Jules, Jonah Hill's crush.
My parents are out of town, so I was thinking about having like a party. You know, I don't really know how many people are going to be there, but you could stop by if you wanted to.
It was a small but important role that showed off her natural charm and launched her film career, and the film was a massive hit. And after Superbad, she kept getting steady comedy roles like in The Rocker where she played a bassist and in The House Bunny where she played an awkward sorority leader. Both roles reinforced her quirky girl image, but her next big role came in 2009 with Zombieland, where she played Wichita, a protective older sister in a zombie comedy. It was her biggest role at the time, and it let her show off more of her emotional range and screen presence. She originally had a smaller part, but ended up winning the team over with a bold audition, roasting Jesse Eisenberg throughout instead of trying to charm him like everyone else. The movie was a hit, both critically and commercially, and she was quickly becoming one of the most exciting up-and-coming actresses in Hollywood. But the big question now was, could she carry a movie on her own? Just 1 year later, in 2010, she did. After voicing a role in Marmaduke alongside Owen Wilson, which flopped, she starred in Easy A, playing a high schooler whose lie spirals out of control, branding her with the label of the school slut. And instead of denying it, she just owns it. She dropped out of Sucker Punch to do Easy A, and it turned out to be the better choice. But the shoot was difficult. She barely slept and felt overwhelmed, especially with her personal life in chaos at the time. She filmed all the narration scenes in one 14-hour day and even discovered she has asthma after an unexpected asthma attack on set. But in the end, the film was a huge success across the board. It was her true breakout as a lead, with critics calling her performance hilarious, sincere, and full of charm. She even earned a Golden Globe nomination for it. With Easy A, Emma Stone had officially arrived.
This is where the magic happens. And as you well know, by magic, I mean nothing.
She could have stuck to comedies forever, but she refused to settle. After Easy A, Emma Stone had proven she could lead a film. She could have stayed in the same lane, playing more charming leads or sarcastic love interests, and for a while, that's exactly what she did. Her small role in 2011's Friends with Benefits definitely reinforced that same image, just like her supporting part in Crazy Stupid Love where she played the love interest to Ryan Gosling's character. What looked like just another rom-com turned out to be a nice surprise, with critics and audiences both liking it. And while filming, she discovered she had a phobia of being lifted. Gosling picked her up in a scene and she had a full-blown meltdown, with Gosling describing her as a possum falling out of a tree and trying to scratch your eyes out. But that was just the phobia talking. Their chemistry was one of the highlights of the film, and the duo would go on to team up for 2 more movies. Her third film that year, The Help, gave her the first chance to lead in a drama. Here she played Eugenia Skeeter Phelan, an aspiring writer in 1960s Mississippi who decides to write a book about the lives of black maids and the racism they face. It was a more complex role that still carried some of her natural charm.
I'm sorry, but were you dropped on your head as an infant? Or were you just born stupid?
And the film was another huge hit, earning Oscar nominations for Best Picture and acting nods for 3 of her co-stars, including a win, but Stone herself was left out. But either way, this role gave us the first real glimpse of her dramatic potential. We wouldn't see the full scope of that potential for another few years, but her next major role was easily her most mainstream yet. She dropped out of 21 Jump Street to star as Gwen Stacy in 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man, opposite Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. Stone and Garfield began dating during filming, and their chemistry became a highlight. Gwen is often written as a pretty flat character, but Stone made her smart and emotionally grounded, more than just a typical superhero love interest. This was by far her biggest production, and the film got solid reviews with great box office numbers. It's even gained more appreciation over time, especially Garfield's take on Spider-Man. The 2014 sequel gave her even more to do dramatically, but it underperformed and the third film was scrapped. But critics still agreed. The sparks between Garfield and Stone saved the day. Now, this is where things start to get interesting. Between the Spider-Man films, she took on safer projects like The Croods and Gangster Squad, though the latter didn't land well. These, alongside the Spider-Man films, made it seem like she was playing it safe. But 2014 was the turning point that showed us just how seriously she wanted to challenge herself. That year, she starred in Woody Allen's Magic in the Moonlight, playing a young psychic in 1920s France. It gave her experience with period pieces and dialogue-heavy scenes, but the film did just okay, as did her next Woody Allen film, Irrational Man. But the real turning point came with Birdman. Directed by Alejandro G. Inarritu, Birdman followed a washed-up superhero actor played by Michael Keaton trying to make a comeback on Broadway. Stone played his daughter, a recovering addict, easily her most complex role up to that point, but the film was technically demanding. It was designed to look like one long continuous shot, which meant the actors had to perform long takes without breaking character. One slip up meant starting over from the top, and the cast kept a running tally of who made the most mistakes, and by the end, Stone had won. In one scene, she came around a corner too quickly and ruined the shot. After dozens of takes, Inarritu, who was famously meticulous, lost his temper and yelled at her for throwing off the rhythm and ruining the movie. This production broke her. She collapsed in her dressing room after a scene was taking 30 takes, muttering, "I can't do it, I'm losing my effing mind." She later said, "I'm usually a people pleaser, but I felt like, F it, I don't care anymore." But she came back, pushed through, and won Inarritu over.
You hate bloggers, you mock Twitter, you don't even have a Facebook page. You're the one who doesn't exist.
Her performance earned her first Oscar nomination, and Birdman went on to win Best Picture. Most actors would have taken a breather after that, but instead, she jumped straight into the most difficult role of her life. Sally Bowles in Cabaret on Broadway. It was her professional theater debut and a lifelong dream, but it nearly broke her. She knew it would be tough, but not this tough. She performed 8 shows a week, 3 hours a night, with rehearsals filling the rest of her days. She said, "You literally have to live like a monk. Your voice is always gone." She gained a whole new respect for stage actors, and it made her fall in love with acting in a completely new way. The production reviewed well, and Stone's performance, especially from an acting standpoint, got a lot of praise. Birdman and Cabaret proved she wasn't just a movie star. With new confidence and stage experience, Stone was ready for the boldest phase of her career. After Cabaret, Emma Stone came out as a different kind of actor. Bolder, riskier, and ready to take on any role she wanted, even Aloha. No, I'm just kidding. Stone is often praised for her acting and usually strong project selection, but this was her biggest misstep. The rom-com put her back in familiar territory, but her casting was the film's biggest issue. She played a character meant to be a quarter Hawaiian and a quarter Chinese. The choice sparked backlash, used as a prime example of Hollywood whitewashing, and Stone has since publicly regretted and apologized for taking the role. The role she was actually ready for was La La Land in 2016. Directed by Damien Chazelle, the film follows a struggling actress in LA who falls in love with a jazz musician. It was her third time working with Gosling, but this time it was a full-blown musical. Chazelle cast her after seeing her in Cabaret. Neither Stone nor Gosling had professional singing or dance training. They trained hard, rehearsing late into the night, but perfection wasn't Chazelle's goal. He wanted something more raw and human, allowing Stone to chase her dream of doing musicals even though she never thought she was a good enough singer or dancer. She even performed some songs live instead of lip syncing, believing that the little imperfections added something real. This role was also deeply personal. Her character, Mia, dropped out of college to pursue acting in LA, similar to Stone's life, so she channeled her own pre-Superbad rock bottom moments for it. Combine that with her chemistry with Gosling and the result was a powerhouse performance.
Because maybe I'm not good enough.
Yes, you are.
No. No, maybe I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Maybe I'm not.
You are.
Maybe I'm not.
You are.
It was vulnerable, messy, and intimate, and it helped the whole film feel more grounded than most musicals that feel very polished. Technically, it was also a major achievement. They had to nail choreography during a 30-minute twilight window to capture the lighting, along with keeping up with some of the crazy camera movements. The film was a massive hit and became a timeless classic. Even people who usually hate musicals loved it. It swept the Oscars, famously or infamously just missing out on Best Picture, but Stone won her first Oscar for the role, giving a charming speech along with it. She could have gone the predictable post-Oscar route with big prestige projects, safe Oscar bait or studio franchises, but she took one of the more interesting paths. La La Land seemed like a safe prestige project, but it was a stepping stone to bolder choices, opening up her career even more. In 2017's Battle of the Sexes, she played tennis legend Billie Jean King in her famous match against former Ben's champion Bobby Riggs. In La La Land, she played someone similar to herself, but now she was transforming into someone totally different. She met with King, studied her interviews and matches, worked with dialect coaches, and gained 15 pounds of muscle for the role. Stone said it changed her life, showing her how rewarding it could be to fully disappear into a role, foreshadowing the weirder, more transformative characters still to come. Despite great reviews, the film didn't perform well at the box office, but critics still praised her work, earning her a Golden Globe nomination. She was the highest paid actress that year, but her next choice proved that she wasn't just chasing paychecks. In 2018, she starred alongside Olivia Colman and Rachel Weisz in Yorgos Lanthimos' The Favourite, playing Abigail Hill, a young woman who schemes her way into power in Queen Anne's 18th century court. She'd done period dramas before, but this one was darker and stranger, especially with how morally ambiguous her character was.
I thought you were on our side.
I'm on my side. Always. Sometimes it's a happy coincidence for you.
It wasn't easy. She was the only American in an otherwise all-British cast, and Lanthimos pushed her hard to master the 1705 English accent so that it wouldn't get in the way during filming. On top of that, she had to adjust to his offbeat tone, but it all paid off. All three leads earned Oscar nods, with Colman even winning. Critics praised Stone's performance as one of her sharpest yet, calling it funny, unpredictable, and scene-stealing. The Favourite was a critical and commercial hit and the start of her long-term collaboration with Lanthimos, the most important one of her career. This marked a new era, one defined by auteur partnerships and riskier choices, and it felt like she just kept leveling up. But the full impact of that new partnership wouldn't be felt until the 2020s. Before then, she made time for some lighter work. She returned for Zombieland Double Tap in 2019, and The Croods: A New Age in 2020. But in 2018, she also returned to TV with Maniac, reuniting with Jonah Hill for a trippy Netflix miniseries about a pharmaceutical trial and alternate realities. It was a strange show, hopping across genres and timelines, with Stone playing wildly different versions of her character. It wasn't a mainstream hit, but it reviewed well. And more importantly, it was her first producing credit. Maniac marked the start of a new chapter, one where Stone wasn't just starring in bold genre-defying projects, but where she was helping bring them to life. A lot happened in 2020, especially in Emma Stone's life, both personally and professionally. She married SNL segment director Dave McCary, and together they formed the production company Fruit Tree. Their first film was the directorial debut of her Zombieland co-star Jesse Eisenberg. 2022 is When You Finish Saving the World, which did okay. But they also backed his next film, A Real Pain, in 2024, which is about two cousins touring Poland to honor their late grandmother. Stone gave some of the best notes on the script, handled marketing calls, nudged Kieran Culkin to sign on, and got him to stay after he nearly dropped out 2 weeks before filming. And good thing that she did, because the film ended up being a big hit relative to its budget, and it earned Culkin his first Oscar. That same year, Fruit Tree also produced I Saw the TV Glow, which got great reviews. Stone and McCary discovered the script themselves and immediately fell in love with it. And these were just the films she didn't act in. The ones she produced and starred in were even bigger. One of those was 2021's Cruella, a live-action origin story of Cruella de Vil. Stone produced it and starred as Estella, an ambitious fashion designer in 1970s London who slowly becomes her villain alter ego.
It's not Estella. That's the past. I'm Cruella.
The role let her go theatrical, big and chaotic, and she leaned all the way in. Critics praised the cast, especially Stone, for being appropriately over the top and wildly entertaining, helping elevate what some criticize as the mashup of other films. At a time when box office numbers were down across the board due to COVID, Cruella did surprisingly well despite releasing digitally the same day. But what came next was her wildest performance. In 2022, she began a 4-year run of Lanthimos collaborations. The first was Bleat, a silent black and white short film just 30 minutes long. You can't stream it. Lanthimos only wants it screened in theaters with accompanying live orchestras. And the year after brought Poor Things that was produced by Fruit Tree, and it was this moment where Stone went fully weird. It wasn't just another period piece. It was a Frankenstein-style coming-of-age film that could have flopped in the wrong hands. Stone played Bella Baxter, a woman brought back to life with the brain of her unborn child, forced to relearn everything. Speech, movement, morality, sex. It was her most daring and transformative role yet.
I fear he will not see the year out.
How marvelous. How do they get the pastry so crisp?
Lanthimos gave her full creative freedom, and she carefully charted Bella's growth from an innocent child to a sharp-witted adult.
I must go punch that baby.
She committed physically too, taking dance lessons to master Bella's awkward early movements and for that now iconic dance scene. Without much dialogue, she shifted her posture, tone, and intelligence across the film very subtly. The role earned her a second Oscar for Best Actress, making her one of the few actors in history to win 2 Oscars before turning 40. And by the time Poor Things was released, Stone and Lanthimos had already wrapped their next collaboration. 2024's Kinds of Kindness was a much harder sell, an anthology film where Stone and others played different characters in 3 loosely connected stories. It didn't chase Poor Things' success. It was darker, stranger, and showcased her range and how good her partnership with Lanthimos had become. But in between their collaborations, she snuck in another TV show in 2023, one that Fruit Tree produced titled The Curse. Co-created by Nathan Fielder and Benny Safdie, the show follows a married couple trying to conceive a child while filming their own reality show about flipping houses. Her character, Whitney, was cold and awkward, making the show deeply uncomfortable, even too unsettling for some, but it still received great reviews. She kept this momentum going to 2025, where she's starring in 2 films. The first is Bugonia, another Lanthimos collaboration with Fruit Tree producing. This time, Stone plays a CEO who is kidnapped by 2 conspiracy-obsessed men who believe she's an alien. It looks just as offbeat as anything they've done before, and we're really hoping it's good. And her other 2025 film is Ari Aster's next film, Eddington, which is about a small town during COVID whose sheriff and mayor are at odds. It's a small role for Stone, but reviews at the time of making this video have been pretty good. And who knows what's next? At this point, it could be anything, and that's exactly what makes her career so exciting. She started as the witty girl next door, but refused to be typecast. She tackled theater, transformed for biopics, danced through musicals, embraced the strange, and helped shape the kinds of stories she once only starred in. Because for an actress who refuses to settle, there is no final act, just the next one. So there you have it, Emma Stone's career that keeps on evolving. What's your favorite role of hers? Share your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and subscribe, and check out our Patreon for some cool perks. But until next time, have a good one.